Welcome to a journey into the unknown, where reality blurs with the supernatural. In this video, we explore 3 terrifying urban legends that will chill you to the bone. From the haunting echoes of the echoing tunnels to the sinister midnight caller and the cursed silent woods, these tales are not for the faint of heart. Prepare yourself for a thrilling ride through mystery, fear, and the unexplained. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to uncover more chilling stories. Story 1: The Echoing Tunnels. In the quiet town of Willowshade, a network of abandoned railway tunnels lay forgotten beneath the hills. Locals whispered of strange sounds, screams, whispers, and footsteps that echoed through the darkness. One night, a group of 5 friends decided to explore the tunnels as a dare. Armed with flashlights and a handheld camera, they entered the gaping mouth of the largest tunnel, the air immediately turning cold and damp. Deeper into the tunnels, they discovered bizarre graffiti on the walls, symbols that looked like ancient runes, painted in what appeared to be dried blood. As they ventured further, their flashlights began to flicker. The graffiti grew more disturbing, depictions of eyeless figures with mouths wide open, screaming silently. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed behind them, as if something heavy had fallen. One by one, they started hearing whispers. At first, it sounded like their names being called softly, but soon the voices turned frantic, pleading for help. One friend, Mia, swore she saw a shadow dart past them. The group decided to turn back, but no matter how far they walked, the tunnel seemed endless. Panic set in as their flashlights dimmed further, and the whispers turned into guttural growls. Out of the darkness, a figure emerged. It was humanoid but impossibly tall, with elongated limbs and glowing red eyes. The group screamed and ran, but the creature's footsteps echoed closer. One by one, their flashlights died completely. In the pitch black, they could only hear their own frantic breaths and the creature's guttural growls. Suddenly, Mia's scream cut through the air, followed by silence. Hours later, a single survivor, Ethan, was found wandering the outskirts of town, muttering incoherently about eyes in the dark. The others were never found. Ethan's hair had turned white, and he refused to speak of what happened. Weeks later, the camera they had taken into the tunnels was discovered at the entrance. The footage showed the group's descent into madness and ended with the lens focusing on a pair of glowing red eyes before cutting to static. Story 2: The Midnight Caller. Emma lived alone in a small apartment on the edge of the city. One night, as she was about to fall asleep, her phone rang. The caller ID showed an unknown number. When she answered, a distorted voice whispered, "I'm watching you." Thinking it was a prank, she hung up and blocked the number. But the calls continued, each time from a different number. Over the next few nights, Emma noticed strange things in her apartment. Her furniture slightly moved, doors left ajar that she was sure she'd closed. One night, she woke up to the sound of her front door creaking open. Grabbing a kitchen knife, she cautiously investigated but found no one. However, a faint shadow lingered on her living room wall, even though there was no one there to cast it. Emma decided to install a security camera. The first night, the footage revealed nothing unusual. But on the second night, she saw a figure standing at the foot of her bed, staring at her as she slept. The figure disappeared the moment she stirred awake. Terrified, she contacted the police, but they found no signs of forced entry. One evening, as Emma was preparing to leave for a friend's house, she received another call. This time, the voice said, "Don't leave. I'm inside." Panicking, she ran to her front door but found it locked from the inside. Heavy footsteps approached her from behind, and she turned to see the shadowy figure from her footage. It lunged at her, but she managed to stab it with the knife she had kept close. When the police arrived, they found Emma unconscious and the knife embedded in her wall. There was no sign of the intruder, but deep scratch marks covered her apartment. Emma moved out the next day. Weeks later, the new tenant called her, saying they had received a strange phone call from an unknown number, asking for Emma by name. Story 3: The Silent Woods. 3 friends, Jake, Laura, and Ben, decided to go camping in the infamous Silent Woods, named for the eerie absence of animal sounds. Locals warned them to stay away, claiming the forest was cursed. Laughing off the warnings, they set up camp and built a fire. As the night wore on, they began hearing faint rustling, despite the stillness of the air. The next morning, they discovered strange symbols carved into the trees surrounding their campsite. The symbols seemed to form a circle, enclosing their tent. Laura, uneasy, suggested they leave, but Jake convinced them to stay another night. That evening, they heard faint humming, like a lullaby, coming from the woods. As the humming grew louder, they saw a figure standing just beyond the firelight. It was a woman in a tattered white dress, her face obscured by long, dark hair. She pointed at them without speaking. Jake threw a rock at her, but she vanished, leaving behind a chilling laugh that echoed through the woods. Terrified, the group decided to leave immediately. As they packed, the symbols on the trees began to glow faintly. The woman reappeared, this time much closer, her face now visible. A grotesque mask of decayed flesh and hollow eyes. She let out an ear-piercing scream, and the friends ran, the forest seeming to close in around them. Ben tripped and fell, and when Jake and Laura turned to help him, he was gone. They eventually found their way back to their car, but the road out of the woods seemed endless. Days later, Jake and Laura were found wandering a nearby highway, dazed and unable to remember what had happened. Ben was never seen again, but locals claim to hear his screams echoing through the silent woods on moonless nights. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the shadows. These stories remind us that some mysteries are best left unexplored, or are they? If you enjoyed unraveling these chilling tales, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Which story sent shivers down your spine? And which legends should we explore next? Subscribe for more horror stories and urban legends. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a journey into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.